Hey guys, hopefully the volume's a little better. I got a mic right in my mouth here. I know you guys have had some issues hearing me before. So let me this video is a little weird because it's not something I actually seen covered often, and it's just generally the concept of stroke direction and how that can impact your drawings. Kind of deciding which way to draw and how to draw and what your lines are like. Um, so why cover this? Well, I actually recently discovered that I've actually draw things a little better going in one way than I do in another for certain kinds of things. And I'll just show you most notably what that is. I recently kind of feel that if when I'm drawing this whole like anime face, I'm sure you've seen a million times. Let me get another inker here, another layer. Um, and then if I go down here, initially a lot of the times I'd want to. You're gonna have to forgive me. I just picked up the pen this minute, so I'm not warmed up for inking. I'd go down the jawline here and then do this. But I've discovered that actually if I start here and then I go up, I get a stronger, oh, god damn it, don't undo layers, that I get the results I want a lot better. And really it has to do with this line here, this termination point. And I'll explain it in a second here. Same thing for the eyes. Let's talk about the eyes just briefly. If I go to make the eyes, there's a bunch of ways of building this eye, but you could do this and then build this. You could do the top line first and then the bottom line second. I've seen that. When it comes to the eyes, really, I feel that the more I study it, the more I see other artists make their eyes, the more I realize that eye construction is very strongly tied to how you're choosing your strokes. Now, obviously, that completely falls apart the second someone does this and starts outlining the eye. But, since eyes are, every art is pretty whimsically non-standard, since there are no serious rules, what I'm kind of showing you guys isn't obvious, is never really the hard rule about anything, because truth is that every artist can only describe to some extent what they understand. Same thing can be done for this line here, so if you drop this on in here, how you draw this can severely impact the shape by just how you choose to break your lines and what directions you choose. And this, sorry guys, this has to do with your termination points. Whenever you stop a line and start a line again, you kind of get a free little hiccup in the line, and that seems like a weird thing to say, but little staggers in lines, subtle staggers in lines, actually make for important visual cues. For instance, the line starting and stopping again here has a much sharper, has a stronger, sharper feel to it than if I were to just try to do this in two lines. You're just not going to get that same level of sharpness. And depending on what you're trying to do here, if you want it to be sharp, if you want something to be round, you'd go all around on, oh wow, you'd go all around on it. But if you wanted something to be sharp, you'd stop and then pick up again. and that kind of helps push that visual cue harder. And that can apply to. I'm just trying to. I'm mostly drawing characters right now, but that can apply to a lot of things. Um, if you want something to look ragged, like obviously hair. If you really want that hair to look sharp, you stop. But if you want it to kind of look round, which can kind of look good, it's harder to do, but stylistically, you can do it, and it actually makes a bit of a difference. So I'm not really telling you what the best way is here. I don't think there is one, but I do feel that it is worth your time to investigate this while you're drawing. Like, hey, when I draw this way, I get a better result. Like these noses here, these anime noses, man. I find that if I draw the line from the bottom up for the shadow, I like the results more than if I do this, than if I go from the other way. I overshoot it, or I just don't get it the way I want it. But if I do it from the bottom up, it works better for me. Uh, and if you have strong brushes, brushes with strong effects on them like these do, because if you've used some of my brushes, you know that some of them can be a little unruly, but they're really meant to just capture more expression out of the brush. So keep an eye on that, and kind of just make sure you're doing things in a way that really kind of best captures your intent. Sometimes a big ass long stroke is what you want, sometimes little tiny strokes. I think it's easy for people to just say, oh, everything needs to be long. For a long time I believed this lie. Everyone needs to draw big, long, confident strokes, but I'll tell you what, a big, long, confident stroke really only gives you certain kind of look. And some artists have completely look like they have big, long, confident strokes, and they draw in little tiny segments because their sketches are done very well, and their inks don't need that. There are some very good artists that build up their lines like this. They're very good. They're very talented. They don't control Z a lot. They don't undo because their sketch is good and they're building up their line, and there's really no screwing up to do. So you have to decide, what's more important to you when you're drawing. Following some sort of rule that you heard that's important, that no one's really going to judge you on ever. And if you do enter the animation industry, to be quite honest, everything's so digital now, and everything's so easy to fix, that a big, long, confident stroke out of a pencil is no longer really a thing I see that's important. And I can do those. I have to actually kind of change my it takes a longer time for me to get to that. And I actually have to change how I'm holding my pen to get there. Using your elbow and all that junk. And I think it's worth totally investigating it to get to the point where you can do a confident line. But I don't know if it's worth beating yourself over it just to get to that, when the only thing that really matters is results. And you're gonna hear things, and you're gonna hear people talk about things, and I don't know. For a long time, a lot of dumb shit got put in my head from other artists, who didn't know what the hell they were talking about. And oftentimes I just assumed things and then made that a rule. And that just comes from romanticizing art. But really, there's a point where you need to kind of stop doing that and kind of take art, grab art by the balls, and seriously do something with it, and not just kind of live your life based on what people think you should be doing with it. So if you think your art's too stiff and you need long, confident lines, you know, and I've worked on this, and sometimes I get good results, and sometimes I go back to being stiff. Sometimes it's just about the material. Sometimes you're drawing characters that are just stiffly designed with stories that are stiffly expressed, and that if you just change the characters or change the designs, there's a certain freedom to that. And that, wow, this is why you don't ink a non-finished drawing. Sometimes you can get away with it, but I actually don't know what this is supposed to be, so it's gonna have so many little errors, and I'll be fixing it in the ink phase. So yeah, let's do this. So yeah, look at how you're building your lines, and really even consider the fact that the direction that you start from can mean a big difference. You know, drawing from up to down, down to up, how that affects what you're doing. And that isn't to say that this is something you need to do. There are artists I know who work on this kind of, they're mostly painters, and all they need is a good, nice, proper silhouette, and their line quality isn't very good. Because what they need out of us under a sketch or a drawing is accuracy, a generic accuracy across the whole image, not accuracy, a per line accuracy. And also, I mean, maybe this is my own perceptions, or I don't think a really strong line art is really valued right now as much as a good presentation, a good color presentation. So if you can get away with across the board looking lines, good looking lines that aren't too bad and don't distract, doesn't distract the reader or the person looking at the art too much, then you're fine. Oh, wow, I'm a little tired. Okay, so that's about it. I know it's a little flu and not very specific, guys, but you know, I've seen people do it like this, and I just feel that as soon as I draw it like this, I get that edge I really want on this just jawline. Well, that's a little strong, but let me do that again. I get that second little line I want that's really subtle, that if you screw it up just a little bit, it looks weird. Hyper accurate minutia detail to illustrations. So hopefully that helps you guys. Maybe this is something that was holding you back, or that kept giving you worse results. So hopefully that helps you guys. All right, thanks. Take care, man.